Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Thursday, February 22nd. So I thought today we'd kind of do a wrap up of the last week and a half, 2 week videos, starting with being true to yourself and why you're being lonely and why you're lonely, to toxic families, to just different things that, it may affect us or it may be us. But stay tuned and we'll see if we can't make some sense out of the toxicity. All right, guys. All right, welcome back. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know that. And we do the weekday show Monday through Friday. And I have repair videos out during the day when possible. And then we do videos on the weekend. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to wrap up 2.5 weeks and see if it all makes sense and why those videos, maybe they affect you personally or they affect you because a family member is like that or a friend that's like that. They could use some help. And when it comes to getting help and asking for help, in my eyes, you're a bigger person if you ask than just sit there and suffer by yourself. That's the worst thing you can do. Okay? Now, if something in one of my videos touches you and says, maybe that's me and I need some help with that, speak up. Speak up. I will, even if you send me a private message, I will do a full segment on just how to explain it. And see, when I do videos, especially on personal development, families and so forth, it's not blowing smoke out my ass towards your ass. It's good chances are, well, yes, the chances are I've been through it and developed certain coping skills that work for me. That some took years to, do it because I kept trying to do it by myself. Now, we first started off, which got a lot of views, and that was, being true to yourself and why there's millions of lonely people out there. And that kind of was talking about how people are being fake, are not being who they say they are, and not feeling safe to be able to say who they are. And that says a lot. It says a lot about you as an individual. But in the same sense, it's like everybody else. Nobody wants to be hurt. And they feel if I keep my feelings close to the vest and I don't let people know what bothers me, then I won't get hurt. But in the same token, if I don't let my feelings be known to others that are important in my life, then I'm also not getting that nourishment from the relationship in a positive way, right? So when it comes to personal development, you have to be willing to do a real accounting of who you are, where you're at, and how you're doing, okay? And if you find that you're not comfortable letting other people know exactly who you are, then why are you around them? Why are you around them? If you don't trust them enough to be yourself, why are you around them? Now, if what you were saying is, I don't trust anybody with my feelings because I've been hurt before, whether it be a bad breakup, trust issues, what have you. Then it says more about you than it says about the other people, right? It's not that they're not trustworthy. It's just that you don't feel safe enough with yourself to be able to convey and to converse with other people about who you really are. And see, we're all missing the boat. Yeah, we are, folks. We're all missing the boat. Because for every person that does that, that keeps you from shining and enlightening our lives, all right? If everybody's going around trying to put out a fake persona because they don't want to get hurt, fake personas tend to be dull, all right? They hardly ever have any depth because the person that is putting that out doesn't get close enough to other people to where they have to have depth. And the other thing with a fake persona and being fake is sometimes you screw up because you forgot the persona you're trying to convey. And some people have umpteen personas, depending on, the setting or what have you that they're in, whether they're with friends, maybe they have a certain persona for that. Family, a certain persona for that. Strangers, a certain persona for that. But we need to get you to a point of where you don't feel the need to have to be creating these personas with your friends and family. Now, I get it. There are some families that are so toxic that you need to get away. And one of you left a comment, yesterday about how your family is so toxic and everybody knows it and everybody's assigned a certain, I call them personas, and just shut up and play your part. And you were saying that you're going to take the kids because they don't know it yet. You're going to take the kids and you're not coming back. That's ideal. An ideal example of what I'm trying to say. If each one of them are assigned a certain persona and told that they have to be that way and act that way, it sucks. Because individualism says who we are. And I want to hear from the real you. I don't want this persona talking to me. What you're going to find is if you have trust issues, and trust issues can come from many sources. It can come from, your upbringing. It can come from, certain relationships in the past not working out, or, having a best friend that you thought was a best friend that is, spreading gossip about you every day. So much for being a best friend, huh? But that's what I'm getting at, folks. And you have to be true to yourself. And you have to take a really good look at yourself. And if you don't take the chance to put yourself out there, what are you going to get back? I'm a firm believer in what you give, you get back, all right? So if you're putting out a fake persona good chances are that's what you're going to attract, is people that will give you a fake persona back. And you're keeping each other at arm's length. And that's sad. Or you could be that person that we talked about yesterday that doesn't feel good enough about themselves ever. That they do the what I call the Uper Syndrome, or embellish or exaggerate the truth. And why do you do that? Simple. See, here's where the average person is, okay, that you're going to come in contact with. And here's you. Now, depending upon how good your business is, your relationship is, blah, 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 you could be up here. You could be up here. But in your own mind and heart, you're never better than here. You're never good enough, even when you are. So what you end up doing is trying to compensate. And when I say compensate, you're trying to get yourself back up to here, when in reality, you're already up here. So why embellish and one-up people? Why do you feel the need to do those things? It's because you don't feel good about yourself. You don't deem yourself as being successful at being up here, because you're so busy telling yourself you're down here. And that's why when you interact with other people that you're here and here, that you're coming from this direction. You're trying to let people know how great you are to try to get back up to here. And it's a false sense, because you've always been there. It's like I say, it says more about you than it does anybody else, because it is about how you feel about yourself. And it goes back to when this came about. To me, it doesn't matter when you've been through an abusive relationship, you've been, abusive upbringing, certain things happened in your life, that were terrible. I could go on. And as I said in a prior video, if you said, but you go bring this stuff, I would personally say, I'm really sorry that you had to go through this, but do you want to do something different from this day forward? Because folks, we do have the ability to change those things that we don't like about ourselves, or we do have the ability to improve on what we do like about ourselves. And one of the biggest things is letting go. Letting go of whatever it is that you've got your hand on that is keeping you, holding you back, that you think is a friend but is not a friend. It's holding you back. It's saying, I can't feel this way because, or I can't act this way because. If something happened in your past, let's start today by leaving it in your past. We can acknowledge it, that it was something that you had gone through, and 99% of the people would say, I'm sorry you had to go through it. But that's not today. That's in your past. And that's why I say some things are better off left alone in your past to move forward. If you come from a toxic family, you got two choices. You can either try to help untoxify the family or just move on. Some things are just not worth fighting over. But the biggest thing that is worth fighting for is you and the real you. Because we are missing out if we don't get to see the real you. And when you come into a relationship, if you're not being the real you, aren't you lying to the other person? I know I don't like to say that because I don't want it to come across as you being a bad person. I'm just saying, would you want somebody to come into a relationship with you and not be totally honest with you about who, what, where, and how they are? Because for any relationship to work, it has to be a win-win for both, right? And how do you get a win-win for both out of a relationship? And a win-win when it comes to a relationship is that you feel comfortable enough that you can be honest and forthright with your partner or your best friend. And they feel the same way. I've always said, a lot of people could stop going to therapy if they could just have a good friend that could listen and keep their mouth shut and let it stay there. We used to have them all the time, before the internet, before phones. Back when I was growing up, we had just the two-party telephones. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have all this crap that a lot of people like you today have that is actually helping the toxicity instead of, helping it. But it all comes back to you and your willingness to change. And it's picking people that are the right people. It's picking people that are a lot like you. See, if I'm around somebody, I want somebody that I can trust, but I can also trust enough to have them say whatever's on their mind. If they feel I'm, off in left field, please say something. And explain why you think I'm off in left field. And you may be 110% right. But if you don't say it, and you let me keep going, I'm going to be even farther out, right? Because I've kind of lost my way. But it comes back to choice. It comes back to we can choose to change and improve if we so desire. But it starts with you. So on that note, you guys have a great Thursday. I'm going to try to I got to do some reading, Bob. I see that I had said 1,200 RPM. I didn't have my glasses on. It could very well have said 12,000 or 12 million for all I could see. And I do thank you guys for what this channel's about. Everything from, being true to me and letting me know, of ways to improve things in my life. Like the shop getting cleaned up, having my tools where I need to be, critiquing, in a positive way. And hopefully that's the way I'm coming across to you guys, is in a positive way. Because I would never say something derogatory towards you. If it's going to be derogatory, I'm not going to say it. And if you're a close friend of mine, I would pull you aside and say, what's going on, bub? And that would be the end of it. But just start today at becoming the new you. And you can't change other people, but you can change yourself. All right.